This is a real Airbus A321 overhead panel, or at least that's what it feels like. Skalarki Electronics claims it's fully plug and play. Let's test it out and see how close to reality this gets. One of the reasons why I decided to make this video is because when I came to purchase the complete overhead panel from Skalarki Electronics, I couldn't find any YouTube videos or reviews on the actual product that I would be getting. In this video, I'm going to be showcasing how the panel arrived fully assembled as a single solid unit and put the advertised completely plug and play setup to the test. I'll also be taking a closer look at the switches, backlighting, and overall build quality, and share my first impressions on whether this actually lives up to the real thing. Skalarki Electronics also offers a mini overhead panel which has the main functions you'd find in the complete overhead panel but in a compact desktop style setup and for a fraction of the cost. And I'll wrap up the video by helping you decide which option makes more sense if you're choosing between the two. Let's see what we got here in the pink bubble wrap. So we got the power supply cable, USB cable, and then extension for the power supply. So this is actually really helpful. After all those layers of bubble wrap, I finally got to the final layer, and it's almost here. And I take off the last final layer of the bubble wrap, and here it is, guys. So this is the Skalarki Electronics Homeline overhead panel, and this is the complete overhead with the case. Comes with the Neo advertised upgrade, the standby RMP and ACP, and also the Pro line switches from Skalarki. So you can see here high-end stuff. The fire. Alright, so we got everything plugged in and I'm just testing it out now. So I'm turning on our two batteries, and basically the TOLIS has a certain glitch which doesn't let the external power switch show until you got the two batteries on. So just flicked on the batteries and then the external power switch. So as you can see here, the amazing backlighting turned on and the panels are alive. And I'm just testing it out, just turning on the fuel pumps, pressing the switches, checking stuff out, how everything functions, making sure everything's working as it's supposed to. And then of course you can run the test in the Skalarki profiler and check to make sure that all the buttons are working and that there's an input and output being received. And of course do the backlighting test and the annunciator test through the Skalarki profiler, but I just decided to go ahead and plug it in and just test it in the simulator directly. And then we have the standby RMP and ACP, which I was just testing out, and I must say that they did improve a lot on the quality. So the quality feels insanely realistic. I've been in level D simulators and the quality is just crazy, guys. Every single purchase I make from Skalarki amazes me, and just the quality that they have is unmatchable on the market. So let me test the advertised panel so you can see it functions exactly like the real life. When you switch the switches, it shows on battery. And then just testing out the functions here. Let's do the fire test. So we'll do the test and it lights up and you can see the message in the sim. And then of course, if we got the fire, then we'll press it and then you can see that the squibs light up. How it works. And then just pressing it around, making sure everything's functioning as it's supposed to. And then they do have the older style advertised panel, which is the standard. So if you want that you can check it out on their website. But I opted in for the Neo advertised panel upgrade. For the lights panel, I actually got the professional version upgrade, which basically gives the feel of the real Airbus aircraft switches, which is a more higher quality, and they use the professional line in Skalarki for the aviation training schools and airlines. But if you're in a home environment, you don't necessarily need them. But since the upgrade wasn't too expensive, and it was for a decent price, I decided to go ahead because this gives the nice look and feel. So you can see that the landing lights and the strobe beacon nav and the dome lights have that nice look, which is similar to the real aircraft. So we can also look at it here once I have it mounted up and ready. See, I can also adjust the backlighting here, and then we can do the engine fire tests. APU test, fire test, and engine 2 fire test. So I think that's really neat. One of my favorite features is the annunciator light test. So if I flick it on, you can see here the overhead panel, or the cockpit I must say, comes into a Christmas tree. So it's actually really cool, and I like this feature a lot. It's like the real aircraft. So you can make sure that all the lights are working and everything. So you can see here we got the backup, the standby RMP and ACP here. I've got all the buttons and lights on, so it's really cool to see. So taking a deeper dive into the overhead panel here, we can see that the panels are extremely realistic. And if we look at the buttons, they come in 2 positions. We have off and on for some of the buttons. So see here, if I press them, they function exactly like the real aircraft. The look, extremely realistic. And then we also have the Zeus fasteners, or the Zeus screws, whatever you want to call them. And you can see here that these screws are a replica of what you'd find in a Airbus cockpit in real life. So you see these screws here, and previously Skalarki Electronics would charge extra for these, but now they're included in the overhead panel. So if you're getting the Homeline version, you'll get these automatically. If you have a pedestal, they also come automatically with the pedestal now. And if you do need them for your own project, of course, you can reach out. They do sell them separately. And then you also have the air conditioning here, the knobs, which function like the real aircraft. And then we've got the pack flow switch here, the knob, and it has some nice friction to it, so not just any knob that you can turn around, but it's really realistic. And then you have switch guards here, which function exactly like the real aircraft. And then see here that these are not just for looks, they actually do function and work to protect the switches. I also wanted to show you how insanely realistic the fire panel is on the overhead. So I'm going to arm an engine fire now on our engine number 2, and let's see what it looks like in the overhead panel. So you can see here that we've got a fire in our engine 2. This is lit up. I'm gonna press it, and then we're going to activate our squib here, and then our second squib, and then you can see here that's basically been discharged. And then we're going to wait for our agent to put out the fire in the engine. And as you guys can see, this was extremely realistic. So honestly speaking, if you're in a home environment, you don't really need the professional version, but of course if you're able to get the professional version, why not? But I just wanted to showcase how the fire works in the Homeline overhead, which is really cool. And I believe their desktop version also comes with a similar mechanism. So, you know, this function is really cool to have, because again, you're getting the nice light up here and then the squib. So all the functions work, but it's just the mechanism that differs slightly from the real aircraft. So the biggest advantage of having the Skalarki Electronics overhead panel is that even though there's a lot of switches and buttons and backlighting, it only takes 1 power supply cable and 1 USB cable to power up everything, which is actually insane. Given the amount of functions that this thing has, I would assume there's at least a few different USB cables that need to be connected, but nope. If you have a main instrument panel with the industrial USB hub, which comes automatically installed by Skalarki Electronics, you can connect the pedestal and the overhead to it, so through the USB cables, and that way everything can go into the computer with 1 USB connection. For a single-sided Homeline trainer, you only need 1 USB cable to power up the whole thing, which is mind-blowing. Searching the market, till this day I haven't found a supplier that has such a modular and easy setup as Skalarki Electronics and offers such high-quality parts for really good prices. So I know some of you are concerned about the size of this and also the cost. Well, I have some good news for you. The first one is that Skalarki sells every single panel individually. So if you wanted, you can purchase any one of these individually, no strings attached. So if you need the outer box, for example, you can purchase that from Skalarki and then start purchasing the smaller panels inside and wiring them up yourself. They do offer the wiring diagrams and instructions on how to install everything. So if you want to take it more slow paced and, you know, start off with maybe the lights panel and the outer box, that's 100% possible. It just depends on what you want to do and how you want to build your flight simulator, but you don't have to purchase the whole thing all at once, which is something that's really nice because you can still have it, and it kind of gives you motivation to slowly bring in those panels as you maybe want to expand your home cockpit. If you want to purchase specific panels, they're all on their website, so you can actually go ahead without even asking them and just add them to your cart. But also make sure that you watch out for the discounts. So I strongly suggest you purchase the items if there is a discount, because their products don't usually go on discount, as I mentioned earlier. If this is too big for you, then Skalarki's got you covered, because they do have a desktop version, which is actually a compact version of their large Homeline overhead. So this is how it looks like, and it's super cool. It gives you the most important functions, and it's super compact, which means that you can actually put it anywhere you want in your desk setup, and it looks awesome. If you're wondering which aircraft the Skalarki Electronics Homeline or even desktop line overhead is compatible with, you can check out the Skalarki Electronics website, which has a compatibility list, so I'll drop the link in the description box below. Today I covered the Skalarki Electronics Homeline overhead panel review. I went in depth of all the functions and everything that the overhead offers from Skalarki Electronics, and we compared the full Homeline overhead with the desktop line. So again, if you're a person that switches between different aircraft types, so if you're not a full-on Airbus person, then the desktop line would probably make more sense for you, as it is smaller, cheaper, and that way you don't have to go in too deep with an investment, and you can switch between different aircraft types. But if you're a person that wants to enjoy Airbus and full-on Airbus, or maybe you can enjoy Airbus and Boeing and are able to afford the full overhead, definitely go ahead and pull the plug on the full overhead panel. Again, if you do see a discount, make sure to take advantage of it. If you guys found this video helpful, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It's Matthew from Airbus Cockpit, and I'll see you guys soon.